I love that countdown. Almost as big a countdown as counting a brand new year. It is WWE Royal Rumble Predictions 2022. I'm going to be joined by George from Josie's Chat Stressing in a couple of moments. But first off, before we give the predictions, you need a match card. So without further ado, here it is. I tell you, I've got Royal Rumble fever already. I'm so excited. Let's get ourselves our guest on today. George from Jonesy Chat Stressing. How are you doing, my man?
Fantastic, man. Thank you for having me on here. Really excited to be back on your channel. Really looking forward to it. It's the Royal Rumble, the one time of the year where the big kid in me comes out. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I feel exactly the same. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I know where we're going to go on the answer with this one. But what are you feeling?
I think definitely an 8 out of 10. I think on paper, this looks to be a fantastic card. It's got some fantastic matches that once in a lifetime, they feel huge, some of the matches on the show.
Yeah, they really, really do. And looking forward to diving into it as well. If you've got any comments, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to dive in. It's nice to see you here. Remember as well to keep on the topic as well, ladies and gentlemen, what match we're talking about. We'll give the best comments a shout out. And yeah, looking forward to learning everybody's Royal Rumble picks. Supersonic X is already in house. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you both doing? Cold and snowy week. How are you ready for the Rumble? Yes, we are. And I hope you are as well. And I've got a funny thing you will like some of the discussion we'll be talking about later in the stream. But George, without further ado, are you ready to talk about the first match that we're going to talk about on the stream today?
Yeah, let's get ready to Rumble.
That's there indeed. There,
That's
we're
the
going to
first
talk about that is indeed. Michael Buffer, where you at? We're going to talk about the Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch defending against Doudrop. That is going to be taking place. It is a Celtic warfare. We've got, of course, Becky Lynch from Ireland. We've got Doudrop from Scotland. Now, I must admit, when Doudrop won that triple threat match, George, you said to me on the week before that she would beat Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan to qualify for this match. And I went, you must be joking me. I've got no chance that she's winning that. She's going to be in the Rumble. But she went on, she prevailed, she won. Jonesy, you were bang on the money with it. Now, was it because you thought Bianca and Liv were going to be in the Rumble and there'd be a better shout for a WrestleMania main match against Becky Lynch? Or was it because of the fact of the reports that's come out later that we know that Becky Lynch wanted to work with Doudrop? Obviously, the fact of the backgrounds and stuff like that, because it's played into the storyline narrative of how Becky would be almost like the idol, if you want, for Doudrop, and how she's got her to the big time, got her to a big championship match on a big pay-per-view, and that Doudrop should be thankful.
I just kind of gathered that they wouldn't want to give away the Bianca Belair Becky Lynch match on the Royal Rumble. That's a huge match for me. Like, I think they want to give a new sort of match, if that makes sense. And I think it'll be a really interesting sort of contrast of styles. And I think it just gave Doudrop that lift. She needed that win following her not winning the Queen of the Ring, if that makes sense. So she needed that recovery. So it kind of made sense to me that they would do that. But it was a good guess. I wish I had the lottery numbers. I'd be a lot more probably rich. Definitely.
I'd say I think we both would be, honestly, because I'd be taking those numbers as well, Jonesy. But I mean, to be fair, I mean, we don't need to go into this match for too long because I think we both kind of got a similar prediction here. I'm guessing you're going the same way that champion retains.
Yeah, Becky Lynch to retain. I think she'll give a lot of offense to Doudrop. I think Doudrop will have the majority of the match, but Becky's going over here. They're not going to drop her here, the title here.
No, I don't think so either. And do you think there's an opportunity that Doudrop could potentially be in the Royal Rumble later that evening?
Quite possibly. They're shorter numbers, so that would kind of make sense.
Yeah, I think
Definitely.
It could be certainly a bizarre. So we're both going for Becky Lynch to retain here over Doudrop. So that's where we're going to go there. And we're just going to go into the comments very quickly before we go into our next match. Supersonic X saying this match is going to be something that Ireland and Scotland are going to be talking about for centuries. Certainly could be. I think it's going to be a good match. I think Doudrop will get a good bit of offense, but yeah, I can't see anything other than say that a Becky Lynch victory. Randy Sam in the house. Thank you, Randy, for checking out the stream, as well as Jackson Rick. Becky to retain, and it says as well. So he's got the same prediction, and thank you, Jackson, for checking out the stream. Also, Ryan Awesome in the house says, let's get Piper and Niven back. I really hope that's the next step. There's been a change of gimmick and stuff like that already, so we'll have to see how it would go. Ben is in the house as well. Thank you, Ben, for checking out the stream. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And as well as that, Becky Lynch retaining from Supersonic X. So that's it. We've got it all there for the Becky Lynch match. We'll go on to our next match that we're going to talk about already, which is going to be the mixed tag team match. That's right. It is going to be Edge and Beth Phoenix taking on The Miz Miz and Maurice. Now, that's a birthday present for everybody that's watching on Sunday. Certainly, it's been an interesting build. This one started, of course, on the Long Island Raw on November 29th with Edge and The Miz. And, of course, Maurice was in and around on the picture. Then it got ourselves to a stage where, obviously, Beth Phoenix actually came in at the day one pay-per-view as well after Edge picked up the victory over The Miz. We've seen some back and forth of good old sports entertainment with this. We've seen an attack with Maurice with a handbag and a brick. Beth didn't sell that too much this past week on Raw, did she? And as well as that, we had the birthday celebration as well. There were, of course, what I thought was quite tastefully done as well. Edge and Beth Phoenix not getting their hands on Miz and Maurice during the celebration, beating up a load of security guards. For me, I do feel it's been quite fun the way this has been put together, but I would say that I think this rivalry needs to come to an end. How have you felt about this? And do you feel that when it comes down to it, we need to get a conclusive finish at Royal Rumble and move on to different storylines?
I've really enjoyed it. I think they've done a really good job of building it up. I think going from that singles match at day one, where we thought it'd be one match and it'll be done, to then go towards this tag match. It's great to see Beth Phoenix back. I'll be glad when it's kind of done, but yeah, it's a good match, to be fair. It's great to see Beth Phoenix back on WTV.
It really is. I'm pleased to see it back, and I think that I got a question actually on my last Q&A that I did, was almost the idea of Edge. Why have we got this feud going on? And what I really like about it is Edge and Beth Phoenix, obviously married couple, they never had the opportunity to actually go and say, right, we can be a mixed tag team and go against another tag team in WWE. And I do feel that if you done it against, like, say, Seth and Becky, which don't get me wrong, it's a great dream match, but I think Seth and Becky would be the ones that would come out the victors. So for me, I kind of look at it and say that this is a good pairing that they've got Edge and Beth against. It gives them that dream case scenario. So for me, I think it ticks a lot of the boxes, and I can't see anything else than an Edge and Beth Phoenix victory. And that hopefully should propel Edge to perhaps different feuds, maybe like Kevin Owens or an AJ Styles going into WrestleMania season.
I like your thinking. I think definitely Edge has to win here. I think Miz doesn't really need the win, so Edge to win here. And I really hope you're right. Edge versus AJ Styles sounds amazing to me down the line. I just hope we don't get this match carried on. I hope this is a one and done now. Like, sort of hope it's the end of it, really.
Let's hope so. It should be a fun match. It's very sports entertainment, and damn it, I love to be sports entertained. Let's go into the comments section, shall we? And Ryan Awesome says that Edge needs to go after the WWE title. We've also got Tom Colohue in the house as well. Tom, how are you doing? He says, sup, dudes, hope you're good. We are, thank you. And he has also gone on to say that he's real hyped for this year's Rumble, but it's so hard to predict this year. And Tom, I have to agree, it's not the easiest one. We're going to do our very best to give you the correct winner today, but whether it's the men's or the women's match. But looking forward to diving into it later in the stream. Angle Podcast is with us as well. Hope you're doing very well. Joey says this Rumble card is one of the best I've seen. Always great work, Steve. Love the show. Thank you very much, and always appreciate the support. It's good to see so many people in the chat nice and early. Supersonic says that Beth didn't sell that brick attack very well. Not the following week, anyway. She came back without a scratch, it seemed. And it's one of my little nitpicks. And I'll just quickly ask you, George, I don't like when a brick is used in WWE. It seems like it should, it seems fatal. Let's be fair. I don't think it sort of belongs in the WWE ring. We've seen it before with cinder blocks and stuff in the past.
It's a very niche item, isn't it? Let's be fair. Like, a chair probably be better for, like, historians and stuff.
I guess you can't fit a chair in a handbag, but I totally know where you're coming from.
Powder. You could put powder in there, though, couldn't you? You could put powder.
It would be classic Mr. Fuji style, wouldn't it? I'd be down for that. Powder would have worked better, and then you could have got the chair involved or something like that. Yeah, I totally with you on that. Angle Podcast going to say that Edge and Betty are a true power couple in WWE, both Hall of Famers with multiple championship reigns. No one else has done it. And do you know what? There will be ones in the future, but he's bang on the money.
Yeah, he's
bang on the money. Ben says there, as you just saw on the screen there, Edge and Beth are winning. I don't think anyone is disagreeing with this so far. Silk is in the house as well. Silk, how you doing, my man? He says, is Edge in the Rumble match too? Time will tell on that. I don't believe so. And if I'm not mistaken, he gave advice to Damien Priest recently on Raw as well of how to win a Royal Rumble match, which of course, most of that was apparently off camera, not on camera. So I believe not. George, do you have any updates? If you know he's in it yet, it doesn't seem to be on the graphics.
I don't think so. I don't think he'll be in it. They've got enough, like, sort of numbers anyway, not including him.
Yeah, I think for the men's, they're more comfortable than the women's. Yeah. As well as that, Edge will be feuding with Chaos as Supersonic. We'll have to see if that will go down. And as Jackson says also, I like it. Sup, Jonesy. And I like this. Bring heat to the feud, but Edge should go after AJ Styles after this. So a variety of people who they think people should go after. We'll have to see what will come down. And we've got a few more comments coming for. Let's just throw them up very quickly before we go to our next match, because we're going to start going on the big championship matches coming up. What if The Miz and Maurice versus Bianca and Ford after this? That'd be something I'd be interested in seeing at some point down the line. Although we have to think about Angelo Dawkins. What would he do?
Yeah, it's true. Maybe Angelo Dawkins goes off and does that heel turn, and then he goes as a solo wrestler. But that'd be a great tag team match. I'd love to see it. I think there's a lot of power couples in WWE potentially these days.
Absolutely, indeed. There, Edge versus Roman Reigns last year was 33 minutes and 2 seconds. Bell starts Edge as a nature freak for his age. He really is Edge, and that's some great statistics there. Thank you very much for DE6, if I'm not mistaken, there for the Roman numerals. Supersonic says Beth might be feuding with Bailey because we have seen them going at it on Twitter since 2020. Now, that's an interesting idea. We'll probably touch on that a bit more a bit later on. Randy says Miz and Maurice win, and then over this, but I wouldn't mind Beth versus a feud with Becky. That certainly would be interesting to see. Rick Perry says, well, he's got Edge and Beth, and so thank you for checking out the stream as well. Rick, it was your first comment of the stream, and a prediction there for AJ Styles and Bailey to win the Rumble matches from Angle. He's not wasting time getting straight in there, and I tell you, we'll be touching on those later on. But first off, we need a championship match, Jonesy. Are you ready to go in championship matches?
Yeah, I'm really excited. We've got so much to choose from out of the two. Wow,
we
that's
have
a big match.
Indeed. That is a big one
match
as well. The WWE Championship, a dream match, dare I say. Brock Lesnar taking on Bobby Lashley. That's going to be taking place on this Saturday. And of course, I feel like this is a match we've been waiting for like, 20 years? It feels like near enough. We're finally getting it at the Royal Rumble under perhaps bizarre circumstances. It would be criminal for me not to go just backtrack a little bit to get us where we are now. Of course, Brock Lesnar was supposed to take on Roman Reigns at day one. That didn't take place. Roman was out due to COVID, or as Pat McAfee was said that COVID actually contracted Roman Reigns. I thought it was a great line, by the way. And when you look back at it then, of course, Brock Lesnar won the WWE Championship, and Bobby Lashley potentially would have won it. We don't know really what would have been with that fatal four-way at day one. So Bobby Lashley's now in the position now to get this match here at the Royal Rumble. And now we've got a position where Brock Lesnar's like, well, Bobby who? He's been really downplaying Bobby Lashley and everything on the build to this, to the point I thought on the way-in on Raw that Lashley would get something. He's still got nothing. So are we going to get the classic where it's one of those things where, you get stuff into the pay-per-view and Bobby Lashley picks up the victory? Or is it a case of where Bobby Lashley will look really weak and squashed if Brock Lesnar goes on to pick up the victory?
I think this one's the meeting of the powerhouse, if that makes sense. Both of them are looking fantastic. Both of them are kind of unstoppable. Bobby Lashley doesn't lose matches generally. Brock Lesnar come back and won the title. It's really, really kind of hard to pick. But as you said, fantastic. This is just one I can't wait to see. In terms of picking a winner, for me, I've got the winner down. I've had the winner down for about a month now, Steve, since I've kind of announced it. My winner for me is Bobby Lashley. The reason why I think Bobby Lashley will win is I think they need to get the belt off Brock. Brock has got other things to worry about. I can go into that more if you want me to or not.
I don't mind. I mean, obviously, it's difficult with this one because your prediction for this can also potentially, and we're not saying it definitely will, but potentially could give away the Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins potential one as well, because it depends if they go for the unification or if they go, like you said there, if Brock was to lose his title, he concentrates on Roman Reigns. So it's one of those things of how it's going to be. And I remember seeing an idea that you put on Twitter at the time. Do you still believe that that's the way that Bobby Lashley would win that? And for those that don't, please elaborate.
Yes, so what I think will go down, obviously you've got this whole Paul Heyman thing with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar going on. That's sort of going on. It's very false. They've not really shown how them two got together again. And we've got MVP and Bobby Lashley. For me, you can't trust Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman wants to go back to Roman Reigns. He does want to go back to Roman Reigns. The way you get that drama up, he's going to have to cost Brock Lesnar. And the thing with that is Bobby Lashley in the long term is going to be angry. He's going to be upset that he couldn't get the job done on his own. And that way, they need to get MVP away from Bobby Lashley in a nutshell, basically. Because MVP, he's with Omos. He's going to be with Omos later this year. I'm sure of it. It's the one thing that makes sense to me. But your winner for me here is definitely going to be Bobby Lashley. Brock's going to be screwed. I think it makes sense. And it'll get a lot of people talking. And I think it'll be a really good way of starting that match at WrestleMania we're going to have between Roman and Brock eventually.
I actually lost you just a little bit on that, George. So I just want to make sure I heard everything correctly. No, that's fine. I just want to make sure I got everything correctly. So the idea for you is that Paul Heyman would actually screw Brock Lesnar here and that Bobby Lashley win the championship. And the idea is at some point that Bobby Lashley needs to get away from MVP to go on for
He's going to fall out of MVP. He's going to blame MVP. It'll come out later that MVP and Paul Heyman had some sort of deal, and Bobby will blame MVP and say that I could have done it on my own. I wanted to win this on my own, and that'd be the way they split. But that's the route I'm going down. I think Bobby Lashley. I might be wrong, but I said it for a while now. I'm going to stick to that.
It's a hard thing. If you think it for a long time and then you come away from it the last second, then it does happen. You're like, why did I come away from it? So I don't blame you at all. I've got one of those predictions coming later in this stream as well. The thing is that I originally wondered why Paul Heyman would do this to Brock Lesnar now when he could do it to benefit Roman later. But the idea you've put there does make sense, and it would suggest a spiral of storylines going in potentially to a WrestleMania, maybe like a Bobby Lashley versus an Omos. So I do like your strategy. I do like your idea. Personally, for me, and the comments are blowing up here, so we're going to go to those in a couple of seconds. I don't believe Brock Lesnar's losing the belt this soon. Now, it seems criminal because usually I always go on the 50-50 booking and I look at the go-home show. If the go-home show is that, one person is strong, I then tend to favor the other person at the pay-per-view. I just have a feeling that WWE could do something which is a complete swerve and actually have, like you said there, we either go to a unification match, or maybe this is not the championship that's going to change hands on the night. So for me, I think it could be the wrong thing to do because Bobby Lashley hasn't got a lot in at this point, apart from when he was actually facing Brock at day one in the Fatal 5-Way. But I do think Brock Lesnar is going to prevail. But I do think this will be a battle of the behemoths. And I do think that Brock Lesnar will give Bobby Lashley a good showing in the match. But I do agree with you, though, with a Paul Heyman screw job. I just believe it's going to come another day. But that's just a personal opinion. We'll have to wait and see if and how it goes. But is there anything you'd like to add on to that, John, just before we go to the comments?
If they don't want to do the Paul Heyman screw job here, they could have Roman interfere and cost Brock, and then just do the screw job at WrestleMania. They want to do it in front of more people, maybe. That's kind of could happen, but it's going to be exciting, man. I just can't wait to see it. I don't think it'll be very long, this match. I think they'll probably get around 8 minutes, but it's going to be hard-hitting based on the Fatal 4-Way we saw at day one, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, let's go to the comments then, shall we? WrestleMania UK in the house. It says Lashley in the form of the Leo Rush style there. Loving that. And Lashley to pick up the win. So that's a vote there for us. Jason has also said that I think it's directed for you, Jones. He can't predict the Rumble match. He says, guys, it's so unpredictable. And you know, we'll be talking about the Rumble matches very, very soon. So it's definitely a good reason to stick around on this stream if you've got that Royal Rumble fever. We've got Lara in the house that says that for the Women's Royal Rumble, Raw and for Bianca, SmackDown, Naomi, and Dark Horse Liv. Interesting predictions there. We'll be coming on more onto those later, but we're going to stick with preferably at the moment the Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar ones that have come through. Ben says he thinks Lashley is winning the championship. So I'm completely outnumbered here, by the way, just to say right now. Jason also thinking Lashley will win the championship. And Non-Stop Wrestling Chat says that he can't wait to see Lesnar versus Lashley. This year's Rumbles are so hard to call. And I tell you what, I'm looking forward. I have not had a chance yet. Barry has got his predictions out on his channel, along with some fantasy booking. I'm looking forward to checking it out, Barry. But thanks for sharing your viewpoint there for us. And Tom is saying his head says Brock, his heart says Bobby. Do you know what, Tom? That's summed up perfectly to how I feel about the situation. But I have to go with my head, and I do think it's going to be Brock. But it seems to me and you think of that because Ryan Awesome also thinks it's going to be Lashley. And he says that he feels that Lashley needs it more than Brock. And do you know what? I have no argument with that. I think he's spot on with that. Eric Travis, Ian House is highly unlikely Lashley to win the title, and then Lights Out, Hurt Business, attack Lashley. Leo Rush, well, he's due to be in AEW till February at this point, but a low blow, and the new alliance of Rush, Cedric, and Shelton is his opinion. If there was a way that Leo Rush could get there, I would love it, but I'm just not sure on that. But he does also go and say that he does like the idea of Omos with MVP. So there we are. Shout out for that fantasy booking idea there for you, Jonesy. Super Sonic says, got Brock winning. No way. I don't want this version of Brock Lesnar to be embarrassed. I do like this version of Brock Lesnar right now. I must say, quite entertaining to see. It is indeed. I think JL will be jealous of a hat like that. I'm not going to lie to you. WrestleMania UK says, if Brock doesn't lose, it will be he will lose it in a rematch in Saudi Arabia next month. And that potentially could be what I'm alluding to there, the Elimination Chamber, because we've got more pay-per-views between now and then. And we've got still a host of comments that have come flying in. We've got Rick Hit says Brock Lesnar winning, and I do have one more before we can go on to our following match. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, Extreme Rules match with beating each other in a shopping complex, pushing each other mid-crowd and beating the hitting how each other is more interesting. Certainly is a good idea. It reminds me of Steve Austin and Booker T back in the day. Do you know what? Barry actually suggested the idea a long time ago, actually, of a MMA style fight and then doing like a Lions Den style match. Would that be something you'd be interested to see if they could do a rematch of this somewhere further down the line?
That'd be fantastic. I'd really like to see that. They could even bring back Ken Shamrock as a special ref. I think that would be really nostalgic and good. Definitely.
I almost was going to mention him as about one of the surprise entrants in the Rumble, and I didn't in the
Okay.
end. So the fact he's been name dropped here, we'll still talk about him later, even though I've not got the graphic ready. Tom says, I love this, Brock. I'd love to see Lashley squash him in the style of Goldberg at Survivor Series back in 2016. Yeah, now, I tell you what, that would be really newsworthy. And that's something that WWE want to do. They want to create news. So that certainly would do the job of that. So a lot of people had their say. And do you know what's quite nice, George, is that you're on one side. You've gone for Bobby Lashley. I have gone for Brock Lesnar here. We're not sticking on the same side. We've been on the same side.
We'll see on Sunday who was right.
And the thing is, what I feel I know from the rest of this video, let's keep everyone a bit teased here. I think it's a similar pattern for the remainder of the video. So it gives people knowing that we've got some interesting picks on the way for us next. Now, shall we go to match 4?
Yes, a cracker. Let's do match 4. Another cracker.
I think you're right. It could be a match of the night candidate.
Dream match again.
Roman Reigns, the Universal Championship against Seth Rollins here. Of course, Rollins is a part of Monday Night Raw, but he's still got this opportunity. He was handpicked by Adam Pearce. There's been a lot of Shield stuff been linked with this. We've been talked about John Moxley as well. It's been in video packages and stuff like that. You even got a name shout with SmackDown the other week. The Usos are barred from ringside after Seth and KO won a tag team match last week. And let's not forget Seth robbing the biggest one in completely is that he's always had Roman's number. He's always been the one to walk away with the W when it is him versus Roman in championship matches. So this is very tasty. It's very interesting. For me personally, I'm going to say this off the bat. I think that this is the most vulnerable. Even if Roman retains, I think it's the most vulnerable he's been in his entire run as Universal Champion. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the most vulnerable he's been since the triple threat at WrestleMania last year. He was kind of vulnerable then. There were 2 competitors, but this is definitely the most vulnerable he's been in a long time, that's for sure. I think they've handpicked this opponent. Somebody generally that's on a push, somebody that's on the up. The fact that Seth Rollins was going to win the title allegedly at day 1 originally, Roman's definitely in danger a little bit. I think Roman, to be fair, he can be a bit cocky now, can't he? He's beat pretty much everybody's face so far, but it makes it a really interesting dynamic, the fact that Roman may lose. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is as well, we know that the Usos are barred from ringside. I know Kevin Owens is going to be focusing on the Royal Rumble match, but hey, he suggested the idea before that it was, day 1, if one of them won the championship, that they could build a path to go on to WrestleMania to face each other for the championship. KO's not barred from ringside at this point. Could he get involved?
Potentially, yeah, he may get involved. You never know. I don't think so. I think Seth, as the babyface he is now, will want to do it cleanly. But yeah, I don't think he'll get involved. If anybody gets involved, more likely to be Brock or something potentially.
That's very true as well. And it's an interesting dynamic you said. You said the word babyface there. Because on SmackDown, Seth is the babyface, but on Raw, he's the dastardly heel. He's still got that laugh that we love either way. And the thing is as well, with both of these guys, they've got such different characters since they've been in the ring before. Even though we've seen these two face off, does this have this freshness that we haven't seen for a long time with these two going head to head, which makes it that dream match that you explained at the start?
100%. It feels, because we haven't seen it for so long, it feels like a brand new match. They're different wrestlers this time. Roman is the greatest Finn in wrestling. I'm sorry, he's so good. And Seth has always been a fantastic worker. And this is a Seth character this time that's far better than the other ones he's had for a long time. So I think it's a really good match. And in ring, it's just going to be fantastic. I think they'll get a good 20 minutes. I think it'll just be really, really close. Loads of close falls. Really looking forward to seeing what they do, really.
I completely agree with you. I think that this has potential to be a star-making match, whatever happens with the result. And for me personally, I think that before we go to the comments, I've got 2 things I have to say. But the first one is, George, it's prediction time.
Okay, so my prediction, I'm going to go Roman Reigns to win. The reason why I'm doing that is I think Roman Reigns has to potentially have a title going into WrestleMania. I think Seth will push him. If by some miracle I'm wrong and Seth wins, I can see there's a comment there that's saying exactly what I think, so I'll shout out Silk now. He's got a comment there exactly what I think. I think if Seth wins, it will be KO versus Seth at Mania. I think that's going to be the route they go down. But Roman Reigns to win, and I think he'll just be cocky. I think he'll go out of this. No one can beat him, basically. But yeah, Roman to win, barring a miracle, in my opinion.
Okay.
The 18-month win streak's not losing now.
No. Well, I tell you what. I am going to go for the first time in I don't know how long. I'm going to go bold and I'm going to go brave. I'm going to go and predict that Seth Rollins is going to win the Universal Championship. I don't think he's going to necessarily do it cleanly. And the reason why I have a 2-sided feeling with this prediction as well, by the way. I don't want Roman to lose the title because I want him to hold it to the summer and I want it to go to someone further down the line. I think could really put them on a pedestal and go, they beat Roman Reigns that was a 2-year champion. But I look back and think, I believe Brock was meant to win against Roman at day one. I think that was the big shock. That was the big twist. So I'm actually of the belief here that they're going to fix this by doing something we have never seen, really. We've usually seen championships change hands by doing a handshake from going draft to draft. Not in mid-season have we seen the WWE Championship and Universal Championship swap shows on a big show like this. So I think that we could get that big shocking moment. And I think that, you know, Seth Rollins then could go off as Universal Champion. He can go off against KO, which was suggested there in the comments. He could go off there against, I don't know, make it like a Big E or a Bobby Lashley or a combinational match. And we get WWE Championship, which will be Brock Lesnar going back to SmackDown to take on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Or even, as we suggested there, at the next pay-per-view. And that's where Heyman can screw over Brock Lesnar, go back with the Tribal Chief as the WWE Champion, Roman realizing he cannot do it without Paul Heyman, and then we get the actual WrestleMania match between those two, knowing that Brock Lesnar, there's no divide in the camp, Brock Lesnar knows where he stands, and he tries to win the championship then off of Roman Reigns. Does that feel like that could be at all plausible? I know you predicted opposite, but could it actually work in a narrative storyline, in your opinion?
Yeah, it could, definitely. I like the way you've put that by getting Roman saying he needs Heyman back to get almost like a superpower, like the Undertaker with the urn. It's that same eulogy, basically. I think that's really, really good. It could happen, mate. I think it's such an open match. Do they do the unthinkable and do a no contest, a DQ? That's something they could also do if they want to drag it out. Because obviously, the way I look at it is either Roman or Brock, one of them will have to have a title going into WrestleMania. And if Roman doesn't win it here, I'm not going to spoil it. There could be a good chance he'll have to be in the Rumble to get that shot, unless he's going to win the Elimination Chamber, which depends the route they go down, really, logically.
Absolutely. I think the Elimination Chamber could be or should be the route which if either of them do. I do believe, by the way, whoever's on the championship match first, and it's just an opinion, I think that's the one that should retain their championship. And then we have more excitement going into the second match if it's title unification. I think if the first match someone actually loses their belt, I think then when it comes to match two, it feels more predictable, but that's just me. But I'm going to just ask it as one quick question before we go into the comments and then to the Rumble matches. I want to know, could there just be the biggest shock of all that both of them lose their championships on Sunday, causing more uncertainty going into WrestleMania? Because we all know and believe they're facing each other for a title.
That'd be amazing. Imagine the talking points. That would just be unreal. And then to get to WrestleMania with the title matches, it's hard to predict. To say that happens, let's hypothetically speaking. So say Bobby Lashley beats Brock Lesnar, so he's the champion on one brand, and then you've got Seth Rollins champion on the other. Who does Bobby Lashley face? For me, if I was booking it, it'll be a triple threat. You've got to put him against Omos. I know everyone's cursing in the comments. Hear me out. And and Big E, really. I think that's kind of the route they'll go down. But yeah, I'd love to see it, mate. Shock TV. That's what I grew up on, really. So I'd love to see that. But if that's the case, mate, put some money on it. You might be able to pay off your rent this month if you're correct. That's for sure.
I want more than rent for that. I tell you. Let's be honest. But let's be honest. Like seriously though, like. The idea as well, if both of them ended up at the Rumble and being the final two as well, people would have a lot
and eliminate each other at the same time. Can you imagine, like Lex Luger, Bret Hart, and eliminate each other at the same time? It could be interesting television.
If it was 2005, though, Vince might do his quads again. We can't see him do that in his mid-70s. That would be painful to watch, even for the comedic value. But we've got Jeff Samuel says in the house, he says, sup, guys. I don't know if I called up his previous comment as well. He said that Brock wins as well. We've got Roman retains here from Ben. Jeff, as like something I've said, I'm not sure what it was, but thank you very much for the emoji anyway. Tribal Chief retains. Roman is winning here as well. So we've got it from Awesome and Supersonic. Ricky Glow in house as well. Ricky Glow says the Roman Reigns by Solo Sikoda making his epic debut. That could be interesting. Certainly would be indeed. Eric Travis is so hard to predict. Dang it, SCW. I'd like to ask the tough questions, although saying that WWE is kind of asking them here. We're just trying to answer them as best as we can. WrestleMania UK says, love both of these guys, but the Tribal Chief, head of the table, the greatest Universal of all time, must retain his title. And like I said, that's why I said with a heavy heart, kind of still want him to retain, even if it doesn't. But he does go and say, Steve, if Roman loses, I might cry. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would actually have a lot of emotion with that as well, to see what may or may not happen if Roman Reigns was to do that. But Martin Carrera says, what's up, guys? Two OGs duo. Thank you very much. Says, once again, hope you guys are doing well and make my predictions as well. Yes, absolutely, indeed. And I would like to know what you're going to say here. He says, you've got the Usos can jump Seth Rollins backstage. Interesting. Then Seth can't compete. Then Roman says, okay, no opponent, I'm out. And then the lights and you can smell what The Rock is cooking. I wish The Rock would come back. That would be amazing, Max. I love the idea. But, I mean, a backstage assault would be interesting. Would definitely help the Tribal Chief probably retain.
It's clever. Definitely, it's creative. But then I guess if you get the Usos doing the jump down, then somebody would have to make the save, wouldn't they, to get Seth out there? Because Seth's obviously going to compete. And it even makes his victory, if he does win, even that much better. He was able to do it injured, I think. It's a proper underdog story then, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And would KO be rewarded with re-signing with WWE and get a title shot? And maybe if Seth wins, that certainly could be an idea. Certainly wouldn't rule it out at this point. Tribal Chief for the win, and also Roman wins once again. It's unanimous, it feels. I feel like I'm on my own again here. If Roman's made a Universal title, I feel like the most important title for him to lose at the Royal Rumble wouldn't be a smart idea. There we go. That's that. And to be fair, I think it's a fair argument. I do think it's a fair argument. Just a heads up that the Rumble, it's Saturday. If we are saying Sunday, we do apologise. It's what we're used to, but Nick Khan has made the changes, and also we'll try to remember to say premium live event as well. We'll try not to say pay-per-view at any point. Randy Sam hearing that Xavier Woods might be back. We'll have to wait and see if he is. That would be interesting if so. And WrestleMania saying if Lesnar and Reigns both lose their titles, it would be great shock value for the Rumble pay-per-view or premium live event. But TV for the next few weeks will most likely be painful to watch. Well, I mean, that could be the case regardless, really, with WWE, couldn't it, really? It's not a guarantee whatever happens. If it will be fun to watch Raw or SmackDown, there's definitely some ups and downs. But certainly, it would be a big talking point for the Rumble, and it would definitely create uncertainty. I think that's certainly one thing I like about it. But also, if both retain, everyone would assume that it's a unification match at Mania, wouldn't they? Even though we've got pay-per-views going before. So, I mean, what is the most exciting outcome for you? The ones you predicted, or some of the other ones that could be potentially up in the air?
I think the one I predicted. We know where the end goal is. It's just how we get there. But if you throw in a curveball, if they're both champions, it means whoever wins the Elimination Chamber, how do they fit into WrestleMania? That's going to be the really interesting route, I think.
Absolutely, indeed, there. Absolutely. Well, I'm just going to say very, very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your comments so far. Obviously, I appreciate everyone that's checking out this live stream. If you can hit a like on the video, it really does help spread the traffic further for the YouTube algorithm. So if you can do in the chat and amongst, hit the like button. Like I say, it just helps the channel grow a lot with the watch time as well. Very close to that monetization goal. Would love to hit there. So thank you very much to everyone that's been supporting SCW. And we're going to give our Royal Rumble picks very, very shortly. So get ready with your predictions as well for the Royal Rumble. But first off, I'm going to just play this for a couple of seconds.
Have you got Royal Rumble fever? Well, if you do, SCW has got you covered. If you're enjoying the Royal Rumble predictions that you're watching now, then why not check out some of these other videos on the channel at the end of this video, including Wrestling YouTube comes together to decide who will win the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches 2022 in a Royal Rumble format. That's right, the entire of Wrestling YouTube on one video to decide who wins the Royal Rumble matches this Saturday. In another Royal Rumble format, Wrestling YouTube also comes together to decide the greatest Royal Rumble match in history. There are also videos on Royal Rumble potential surprises and returns. There is some fantasy booking on the channel also with the Women's Royal Rumble. Arguably, I would say one of my best fantasy booking videos to date. And coming to the channel as well is the Men's Royal Rumble in fantasy booking format. Subscribe now to SCW to never miss an upload, and also hit that beautiful bell for the notifications and turn it to all, and you know each and every time a video is released as we head towards WrestleMania season.
There you have it there. That's what you can go and check out after this video. If you haven't seen any of those videos already, I recommend it. A lot of work gone into them, and yeah, very thankful, especially with the big collaborations. Georgie was involved on one of them as well. So yeah, thanks to everyone that was involved in that. Very many talented creators involved there. But without further ado, shall we start talking about the Royal Rumble matches? So get your predictions ready, everybody. And we're going to start off with the men's Royal Rumble match. So let's see the brackets of what we've got at this point, who is in the match. So I'm going to announce now, we've got AJ Styles, we've got Kevin Owens, Omos, the Dirty Dogs, we've got Johnny Knoxville from Jackass going to be involved in there, along with Sami Zayn. We've got Rey and Dominik Mysterio, Austin Theory, the Raw Tag Team Champions of Chad Gable and Otis the Alpha Academy, the Street Profits, RK Bro, Kofi Kingston, Matt Moss. We've got Happy Corbin, Big E, the United States Champion Damien Priest, and of course, famous have all been announced for the Royal Rumble at this stage. So on account of that, I believe that's 22, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've seen earlier. Looking at lineup, George, what takes your fancy so far?
I think it's a really solid lineup. You've got AJ Styles, Kevin Owens there, just some really interesting characters, I think. Yeah, and Johnny Knoxville in there. Great fun comedy that's going to come with him and Sami Zayn. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's it's going to be good. It's stacked, isn't it? At the moment, they're going to add. There's still 8 more spaces as well, which is exciting.
Absolutely. Are you surprised that we haven't got Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura currently announced for the match?
Yeah, I'm surprised. They're kind of on the list that I thought. So I think if they're going to add people, you got to put Finn Balor, R-Truth maybe, Cesaro, the Usos. There's quite a few people missing, but we still got SmackDown, so it'll probably happen. But it looks fun. I think some things that are for sure. There's quite a few things I can predict that are probably going to happen in the Rumble. I think one of them straight away is Austin Theory to enter number 1. If that's not been announced already, I think that he's got to go number 1 based on Vince McMahon 99 and the whole Vince McMahon Austin thing. Like Vince has almost adopted him as a son almost. That's kind of going to be Finn for him to go all the way. Another one, I think you're looking for Omos. Omos is going to be huge in this Rumble. I think he's going to eliminate a lot of people. I'm expecting to see him and Big E have some sort of showdown as well, which I think Big E will be the one that takes Omos out potentially. And I think you're also going to get Orton and Riddle. I think the whole meltdown's going to start as of the Rumble. I think them two, potentially Riddle might eliminate Orton, which will be a bit of a shock as well. And I think the last thing I was going to say on this as well, last 2 points were Johnny Knoxville. I see him eliminating Sami Zayn. I think that's got to happen based on everything they've done on television. And I think Rey Mysterio or Dominik are going to eliminate each other. I think that started already on TV. The hint of that started already on TV for me. That's kind of how I see it's going to go down, probably.
Yeah, do you know what? I think I can't disagree with a lot of that there. Like you say there, if they're going to do Ray versus Dom, they definitely teased it because Dom's a bit like, Dad, what are you doing? You keep throwing me out the Rumble. Yeah. It's like he seems very upset by the idea that he's been thrown over the top rope. I think the Austin Theory thing, like you say, he's being tested. Vince is putting him in difficult situations, so that's plausible to happen. I had down as an early potential number 1. I wonder if Kevin Owens might have that spot, but we'll have to wait and see if that will go down or not. Because I think, like you said, if Johnny Knoxville eliminates Sami Zayn, I think Kevin Owens will be the one to eliminate Johnny Knoxville. But that's certainly just an idea and a prediction. But I do feel as well, wouldn't the idea of Johnny Knoxville being eliminated by Omos and flying over the top rope could be kind of an interesting philosophy? But I don't know how well trained Johnny Knoxville is here. I don't know if it's probably better to have a safer elimination. It could be bad enough that he's taking bumps in the ring as it is, and I expect him to take a pounding while he's in there as well. I think it could be quite an entertaining moment to watch during the Rumble environment. But like you said with RK Bro, definitely something I did for when I did the prediction for WrestleMania card, like about October last year. I thought the Royal Rumble was a good place to start that. They've already lost the tag team titles, which I thought was a bit early, but hey, like you said, the breakup could start here. So yeah, there's lots of things that can come out of it. For me, as a journeyman, I want to see, like you said, Austin Theory could be one of them. I want AJ Styles to have a good showing in the Royal Rumble. Big E as well, be great to see. But I mean, we have the idea of surprises as well involved in this. So shall we go through what we think each other could be the surprise entrance in the Royal Rumble?
Go for it, Steve.
Well, we'll start off with yours, just to go in there. So this is George's lineup. He's gone with Gunther, a potential could be in there. Bron Breakker, the NXT champion. Brock Lesnar, of course, losing the championship. Moose could be one, potentially as a wild card thing here, and a wild card of Corey Graves as well. We'll go into more detail of those in a second. And for the ones that I've gone with, which includes a couple of wild cards of my own, if I'm not mistaken here, I'm going bold, remember, here with this. We've got Tommaso Ciampa, although he returned on NXT, same with Pete Dunne last night. We've got Roman Reigns, if he loses the championship. Corey Graves in there. Gangrel I've gone with. I've got a good reason for that. Braun Strowman could be a potential one-night only deal as well. So I think we should start with some of yours there, George. There's potential surprises there. So we've mentioned the idea of NXT already there, and you mentioned the idea of Bron Breakker and Gunther. Gunther, I think, will be fast-tracked at some point early this year to the main roster. I still believe Bron Breakker will be called up in the draft, but you think this could be a good place to tease them in and put them into the Royal Rumble and have a good performance?
Yeah, they'll kind of test the waters with these. They want to see them on the main stage, and I think this is a great way. Clearly, last year in the Rumble, we had some NXT stars come up, so them two, to me, they're on the up in NXT, despite the name change. I think for me, it's a great spot. Clearly, Walter's done some work on the main roster before at Survivor Series and stuff like that, and these guys are great in the ring, so I think they're fantastic additions, and this would be a great spot for them to really come and improve a point, basically.
Certainly, indeed, there, absolutely. And obviously, it's self-explanatory with the Brock Lesnar one. Lose the title earlier in the evening, come into the match. And I've done the same with Roman Reigns there. I mean, it depends which one loses. But if one of them two enters the Rumble, they have to win it, right? Surely?
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah, definitely. Unless one of them's going to win the Elimination Chamber, as we kind of said earlier. My actual prediction, if you want to go to my prediction now for the match, my prediction is Brock Lesnar. I think Brock Lesnar's going to win the Rumble. I've kind of said that sort of the whole of January. I'm sticking kind of with Brock Lesnar. I think he either wins this here or he has to get in that match against Roman at another means. It'd be nice if someone different wins, but I kind of came down to either Brock or Omos, and I just got better at the thought of Omos winning the Rumble. So I have to go Brock and hope they do that, basically.
Yeah. I kind of hope they don't do Omos either. Even if it's like RK Bro or Big E, like as a combination, getting him out of the ring, that they cannot do Omos. It would be a catastrophe. But that was one of the reasons I picked Braun Strowman. A one-night deal to come in at the Royal Rumble, a big name to be eliminated by Omos, a big guy. Vince gets his thrills out of it. Big guy, face to face with big guy. Could it make logical sense to have Braun Strowman come in for a one-night deal?
Yeah, good. He's obviously got great nostalgia, if that makes sense. It kind of makes sense. I think the fans will give him a good pop, whoever comes back. The thing with this men's match, it's so stacked in terms of people already. It didn't leave a lot of spots for people like legends to come back, I felt.
That's the problem. And although I've put Gangrel in there because they've used the Brood music recently, I think it'd be a fun cameo just to come in once, a couple of minutes. We mentioned Ken Shamrock earlier on. He was part of Impact Wrestling not so long ago. I'd love to see the World's Most Dangerous Man have a cameo in the Rumble. Wouldn't it be fun 25 years on after his mainstay run?
I'd pop for that. Definitely. It'd be really good.
It would be exciting. It's what the Rumble's all about, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? To see those exciting people come in. Now, I mentioned Tommaso Ciampa and Pete Dunne. I thought for the same reason, but also both have been on main event. Obviously, we know Roderick Strong has done so, LA Knight also. But, I mean, Tommaso Ciampa was actually dyed his beard at that point. But they both returned on NXT last night. So it kind of makes me wonder if it's not as likely. Like I said, there's not as many spots left open. But I've got a few wild cards as well there. But just before we do, the two wild cards you put there, and I went with one of them as well, was Corey Graves. Now, Corey Graves has been cleared for action. Was that your reason of thinking he may come from the commentary booth?
Yeah, kind of. If they're short for numbers, and they say that on the day there's somebody that unfortunately fails a test, if that makes sense, or they don't clear health, it'd be a good route. But I think it would be a great shot moment, a great sort of feel-good moment if he came into the Rumble, but it's a long shot, really, in my opinion.
It could be a long shot, but I certainly think it could be fun to see, and I think for him that'd be great. He did win the 24/7 championship just recently as well, so it could be fun to see. And Moose, of course, the Impact World Champion. Obviously, let's just talk about the Forbidden Door. We won't try and keep it too long, and my God, the comments. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. We'll go to them shortly. Impact Wrestling, we know with Mickie James, the Knockouts champion, coming into the women's one, which will be obviously our main event for our discussion today. But obviously, looking at things here, is there a possibility that WWE could do so? Or do we feel that it's perhaps more distance? Because it does feel like since those sort of WrestleVotes tweets came out a couple of weeks ago about getting this big name in, it's sort of quieted down a bit. And of course, the influence or the inspiration, the inspiration now, the Iconics, they turned down a Rumble spot for the women. So are we finding a position where maybe it may not happen with Moose?
Quite probably. I think the thing with it is it depends really if they want to put one of the homegrown onto the show. Totally down to that feel good match factor. I know they like Moose, like before they were trying to get Moose, so maybe. But yeah, long shot. I think to be fair, we're probably not going to see the Forbidden Door. The Forbidden Door really is just for women because ultimately they're so short of rosters on the roster for this match. Yeah, that's the thing. The women's match seems to be where they're having trouble filling rather than the men. But we'll go on the wild cards very quickly, and then we'll dive into some comments. I'll give my prediction as well. But on the wild cards here, Grayson Waller could be a potential one there, perhaps, maybe. LA Knight could be another one as well. We could be talking as well about the likes of Johnny Gargano, of course. Will he turn up at Beach Break tonight? We'll have to wait and see. Veer Mahan, because he's got to turn up somewhere. He's got to go somewhere, isn't he? What about Pat McAfee? An idea as well. If Corey Graves is in it, McAfee's been in War Games before. The Fiend also there. That could be fun. X-Pac as well was on GCW this past week. He's cleared to go. And Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, if that Forbidden Door is open, it's a former WWE guy. And we mentioned Moose there as well already. So we don't really have to touch on one. But if I go through those one more time, George, can you just give me your sort of score out of 10 of a likelihood that you could see it could happen? So, and then that way we'll go to prediction and we go to the comments because we've always got a Rumble worth of comments coming in. Grayson Waller out of 10. 5 out of 10.
I would say 5 as well. LA Knight.
We'll go 5 out of 10 again.
I'm going to go 6 with Johnny Gargano.
I'd go sort of 5, potentially maybe somewhere else. And question Veer Mahan. I'm going to go 7. Like, it's overdue. Like, this guy's got to be in it. If you're going to go for the Pat McAfee, I'm going to go 0. The Fiend, I'm going to go 0 as well. The Fiend, I'd love him to come back, but I just don't see it, unfortunately.
No, that's the thing is with the Fiend. It's a topic I knew would be quite interesting to talk about, but I am the same as you. It'd be great to see him come in, but he'd have to win it again if he was to come in, wouldn't he?
Yeah, definitely. It'd be nice to see him, but I don't think they're going to do that spot. Like, I think if they're going to bring him back, it'll be through vignettes, not just a cameo in the Rumble. Almost not someone you want to be back just for a one-off, really.
Absolutely, indeed. And just before we go to some of these comments that have come flying in, I mentioned there Matt Cardona, always ready. Could Zack Ryder just be someone that could come in, or would you say that's an unlikelihood?
It's an unlikelihood, really. I just don't see it, unfortunately.
We'll have to wait and see. Well, I'm going to give my prediction now for the Royal Rumble. If Brock or Roman enter, they are winning. If both enter, I have Brock winning. But I'm going to go against the grain. I think whoever loses their championship should do it via the Elimination Chamber. Someone else should get their moment here. And I think Big E should get his moment here of a redemption story after losing the championship to go against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. So that's going to be my prediction. I'm going to stick with Big E on it. But I do say if Roman or Brock are in, there's no other way it's going down. So that's going to be my prediction there for you. So let's go through to the comment section then, George, before we go and give our prediction for the Women's Royal Rumble. Ben saying AJ Styles to win the Rumble. Ryan also of AJ Styles, very popular there. 22-man, interesting. Yes, we expect more will be announced. Perhaps, as you said, SmackDown could be a potential way there. Sid did say that, do you think they're giving away so many entrants to the Rumble takes away some of the mystery of the Rumble? I don't think so. I mean, obviously, we expect a lot of the rosters to be announced, but we still have enough surprises. Usually only get 3 or 4 per Rumble match anyway. It would probably be overkill if you had 10 or 15 surprises, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be an overkill. I think the majority of the overkill is probably in the women's match, just due to who they've had to get in. But yeah, part of me would have loved to see the Mickie James thing be kept a secret because that would have been quite a wow moment. But yeah, I just guess they're doing what they can because if they didn't announce anything, it would just be every entrant would be like a surprise almost. For the women. Absolutely,
yeah, absolutely. And Nakamura injured as well there, which is a shame. That's why he's not going to be part of this by the look of it. But that would explain everything. And if McMahon is back in Austin Theory and come at number 30, we'll have to wait and see.
He won't. I think the reason why he won't is ultimately he's got to prove himself. Vince McMahon doesn't like Austin Theory. It's the whole Hornswoggle thing again, that storyline with Hornswoggle where Hornswoggle was his son. Do you remember that whole storyline where he just continually punished him? It's kind of that. I don't know whether you think that or not, really.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like you say, it seems to prove himself. So I think he gets an earlier number rather than a later number. If he gets a later number, he's expected to win it. And that's the thing of what could be the problem here for Austin Theory if he doesn't succeed. Ryan Awesome does say that it's a waste of a spot for John Knoxville. Potentially, I do agree with that. I mean, obviously, we know he's not going to win the Rumble, but star power, it may bring some outside eyes in. I think that's what they're looking to do with it. It probably is better than some of the other things they've done previously, where they've done what was that Demon movie Batista was in, where they had all the zombies at WrestleMania Backlash last year. Yeah. So it should be better than that, hopefully. But you know, do you want a shock moment? If Demon Finn Balor to come out, but he's got AJ Styles winning. But Demon Finn would be awesome to see, wouldn't it? But do you think it would be harming the Demon if he was to lose a second straight match, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you want to bring him back in just a Rumble. He needs to come back and rebuild after the way he lost to Roman, so sort of devastating in such a devastating style. But yeah, no, I think it'd be good just to see Finn in the match. Really, I can't believe Finn's not been announced. In all honesty.
No, I think he will be at some point further down the line. But Jeff says that AJ Styles is a very popular one. There is his choice there. As well, Martin Greer says, since WWE did promote the Royal Rumble for 30 plus days, I can definitely see Vima Hunt finding his way into the field since he couldn't find a way to Raw, main eventing WrestleMania with the 24/7 title. Goodness, that would be so much fun to see, wouldn't it? But we've also got Jeff saying, dummy, yeah. LA Knight is a surprise entrant. That'd be fantastic to see. Mex is with you that it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. Lesnar is winning the Rumble. And also, I've got here, Randy Sam says, oh my God, Ken Shamrock, he has a name value. I think it would be good to see. I think it would be fun to see. Mexel says, X-Pac returning, mark his words. You'll like this one, I think, George. Elias, please bring him back. Now, wouldn't that be great to see him come back in the Rumble?
Yeah, it would be nice. It's a shame we haven't seen him for a long time. I feel that Rick Boogs has taken that spot almost.
Yeah, it does seem to be. And Boogs hasn't been announced just yet either. We've got a shout for X-Pac once again there. Yeah. So it looks like some of these are quite popular with people as well, which is quite fun. Martin Greer says, honestly, I'm in between AJ Styles and Sheamus, since I would love to see one of them a main event with Reigns. If I can only pick, I would get Styles. But Styles versus Reigns is a great idea.
Styles is getting a lot of shouts, isn't he, in the comments? He's getting a huge amount of comments in the comments. So if Styles is the winner, who's he facing at Mania then? Is it Seth, would you say, then I'm guessing? Based on,
I would say that would probably be a logical one they could go for. Yeah, I think that would be the way they would go. Definitely. Shane McMahon surprise eliminates Austin Theory. Wow, could you imagine Shane McMahon being booked then to face Austin Theory at WrestleMania? It does feel like I'm sure Tom actually mentioned this the other day.
Tom is the one that came
I'm sure he did, yeah, or on Twitter or something.
Idea.
It's a great idea, but honestly, I'm not sure if I'm ready for Shane McMahon back on my TV just yet. George, how about you?
No, definitely not. I've still got nightmares. It's a show from last time.
Maxwell says he has Moose as a surprise entrant. We'll have to wait and see. Superson X is going with Big E. Hopefully, we might see some NXT stars as well as some outside help. That would be interesting. There's some shouts of Veer in the comments section, of course. And you're forgetting the most common surprise return, Kane. It just feels overdone, doesn't it? But it would keep up his record.
Yeah, it would. Mayor Kane, never know. Like, if they're desperately short, what's to say they only have to have 30 members? They may have a 31 entrant. You never know. They don't have to stick at 30 if they have to.
I always wondered if they would do that one year, just to be a shock value and just be something different. Ryan Austin, why would Vim be in the Rumble when he said he's coming to Raw? Because he's got lost on the way, quite simply. He'll get thrown out of the Rumble and then he can't find his way to wherever Raw is the following night. But at least he could find St. Louis. That'd be as good as it would get.
Yeah.
But WrestleMania UK, WWE not in partnership with Impact. Mickie James says she's bringing the Impact title. I doubt Vince has agreed to that. And even if he has... we have seen Vince change his mind, right? And of course, he's bang on the money. And I did see as well, Mickie James does not have the championship shown on the graphic, which will come up in a couple of moments from now. So that could be interesting to see. Randy Sem says, Big E as my winner. Johnny Gargano will show up on AEW Beach Break. I think the same. I think he appears after the ladder match tonight between Cody and Sammy Guevara. I think that will be building for that match towards will be Revolution, which I believe is the early March. George, do you have a side? Do you think it'll be a beach break tonight?
Yeah, I think he'll go beach break. I think he wants a fresh start. So yeah, it makes sense to me. I think you're spot on, Steve. You comment.
We'll have to wait and see how it will go down. And could the Royal Rumble Premium Live event be a reset towards WWE programming, or what can you guys think the Rumble can do for the future? But this is the thing. You said the idea of Brock Lesnar winning, Roman Reigns potentially could win if they're in it. But obviously, otherwise, it's an open field. And I think one thing that's most important about this men's Royal Rumble compared to the women's has got a lot of storylines going on. Men's does not have as many storylines going on, but you have the potential to push stars. You said an Austin Theory, someone like that to have a really good showing a long time in the Rumble. What about a Montez Ford get half an hour in the Rumble? That would do good for their programming and their future going forward, couldn't it? And I will say one thing as well, actually. You mentioned about Austin Theory, and there's a story going towards WrestleMania. I think Austin Theory will eliminate Damien Priest, and it will build a United States Championship match for him and Priest at Mania.
Can I put something out there regarding Brock Lesnar as well?
Go for it.
So I think if Brock Lesnar loses, like I think he's going to Bobby Lashley, he's going to be so angry he'll actually attack somebody and take their number in the Rumble. That's why I think he's going to get into it logically. Just thinking about that.
That could be interesting. Imagine Drew Gulak at number 30 and then you're just being bashed on the head on the way down to the ring. You give, who's that number 30? And then they come out. That would make a lot of sense. Could see that happening. Damien Priest or Styles or Owens is Elijah Washington's winner there for us. Thanks for your prediction. And how crazy would it be for a guy like Pete Dunne challenging Reigns for the Universal title? I would go absolutely crazy. I would as well, but sadly, I just don't see that one happening. But you know what I'd like to see Pete Dunne do if he was to come in? I'd like to see him form a stable with Sheamus and Ridge Holland. I think that as a group would be quite strong.
Be really, really strong. Add Cesaro as well, and then you've got like a quartet then, haven't you? That would be really, really good. Almost like a 2022 Four Horsemen, almost, that sort of ilk.
It would be very, very strong, wouldn't it? And to be fair, if I'm not mistaken, all European as well. It's, we won't go with that group. What was it? The League of Nations back in 2015. That was painful to watch. But certainly would be interesting. One last one then, just before we move on. Do you think that we'll get Owens versus Damien for the US title on this pay-per-view?
No.
Possibly,
no,
but I don't think so.
Time constraints. Yeah, the time constraints look like this. The two Rumble matches, that's 2 hours there. Roman and Seth are going to need a good 20 minutes. The Brock match is going to probably be a short amount. So no, I don't think they'll put that on the kickoff. To be fair,
the thing is, good if they did, but I think if they're in the Rumble match as well, it makes you think they're not going to win. You take two names out of it immediately, don't you? So that'll be interesting. But that's our predictions anyway. So let's go then over to the Women's Royal Rumble, and we've got all the names to go through once again. We are going to be starting off by talking about their Kelly, Mickie James, like I said, without the Impact title there, the Knockouts title. Lita, Tamina. We've got the Women's Tag Team Champions of Queen Zelina and Carmella. We've got Shayna Baszler, the Bella Twins, Michelle McCool, the legend that is Summer Rae. We've got Nikki, A.S.H, Naomi, who I think will be number one. I'm going to say it very quickly, nice and early. The 24/7 champion, Dana Brooke. We've got the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Natalya, Shotzi, and Aaliyah. That is your field that is announced up to this stage. Of course, that is, I believe, 21 entrants it may be, I think, at this point. I can't remember exactly if it was 19 or 21, but I believe it's 21 with the additions of Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair. Looking at that lineup there, we've got some legends in amongst it. We've got some current stars. We've got champions, George. What do you see on this graphic? What stands out to you?
I think the front three stand out. So you've got Charlotte, Bianca, and Liv. them front three are just so strong. They've all got a really good chance of winning it as well. I'm ignoring Rhea Ripley. I think she should be strong as well, but I'm just deliberately ignoring her. But I think those front three are all strong. And then when you add legends, it's just really interesting. I think a really interesting element in this match is Charlotte being added. She's a champion. Why does she need to be added unless she's going to go after the other belt and unify it? That's kind of what I think of it.
I feel that because after the revenge of Survivor Series, she was screwed out of that match, and like you said, neither of them lost. They trade over the championships, so there is a purpose for Charlotte Flair to be in there. But I also think whoever eliminates Charlotte Flair, because I spoiler alert, I don't have her winning. I think that person could be building up to be the person that will take on Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Could that be something? Something you see?
Really logical, really good point, Steve. I totally agree with that. I think that's a good suggestion, a good point. Totally.
Well, I mean, also looking through it, I think Naomi will be number one. I think she's going to be screwed by Sonya Deville throughout this match. And I'll say more of that. Obviously, if you've seen my fantasy booking videos already, you'll know ideas that I've had for this. Some of them may come into when I go into the surprises in a moment. But looking at it, I do feel that there's lots of things they can do. This has got lots of storylines going on that they can tie up in this Rumble, stuff that can come out of it as well. Are you excited to see the legends, to see the Mickie James, to see the Litas, the Bella Twins? They could offer a lot, couldn't they? Especially even going forward. Lita, I think she's got one more run in her, and the Bella Twins, I know you made a prediction 12 months ago. It could come true this year.
You might finally get there. They might finally get the women's tag team titles. But no, great to see the legends. I love seeing the work with the new wrestlers. I think they rub off well. I think it should be really good. Just to see where this goes, particularly in Charlotte. I've got this feeling in the back of my mind. Lita Charlotte could be a match, maybe at the next pay-per-view, maybe in Saudi potentially. I can't seem to shake that feeling at the moment, really.
I think you're right. I think they definitely have a match at some point. They're definitely building towards it, even if it's not going to come as a result of this Royal Rumble match. But certainly they could build for this. So I'd be interested in seeing that go down. If that could be a potential match that could be in the future there. Like you say, it's hard to look past the front lineup there of those women, because when you say they're the likes of Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, they were in the championship picture not so long ago. Revenge against Becky Lynch. You know, people know we're coming towards where we're going to go in a minute with this already. Charlotte Flair, we've discussed. Rhea Ripley, they should be booked strong, but she's tied up with this Nikki A.S.H storyline that's going on at the moment that I just don't think is doing her any favours. One thing I want to talk about before we go into surprises, we mentioned Mickie James, the Knockouts champion from Impact Wrestling, coming through that forbidden door. The thing is with her, regardless of if she gets to wear this championship or not, do you think WWE will show any respect to the fact she's in this match, or do you think that there's a potential she could be eliminated within a minute?
I hope they show respect, particularly after the Big Bag incident. I know the person got fired and stuff like that, but yeah, I think they'll show some sort of respect. I just think they would have to, because if they do it again a second time, it's just really disrespectful. So yeah, I think they'll show respect. I don't know how good and how long she'll get in the Rumble, but I think she'll definitely get a chance. I really hope that Impact get treated better than their AEW experience, that's for sure.
I have to agree 100%, and I do think she'll get at least to be in there for at least 5 entrants. That's what I'm going to say, at least. But I'd like her to be in around the final field, whether it's final 10, final 8. That would be quite nice to see. I understand when it's the final 4, they're going to want to promote their own, but certainly it does give a good talking point if she's near the end as well, because people go, hang on, what if we got the Knockouts champion at WrestleMania? Well, that would be something really, really big, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think a lot of people know where we might be going with this anyway to discussion. So let's not waste any more time, because we need to get to the surprises to discuss that. So we'll go through your surprise entrance of who you think first, George. I'll go through mine second, and obviously then we'll go with the wild cards and then go with the predictions. So we've got then, with the surprise entrance for George, we've got Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, we've got Kaylee Ray, we've got Trish Stratus, we've got Sonya Deville, we've got Asuka, we've got Bayley, we've got Ronda Rousey. There it is. There's the big ones there for you that you were waiting for. And of course, we'll go through mine as well for you as well. Some of them are a bit similar on this one. We've got Mandy Rose, though, to be a bit different. Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai. We've got Trish Stratus on there from me as well. Cameron, a Funkadactyl, Melina also on there as well. I mentioned Asuka also, and Bayley. And of course, I had to mention Ronda Rousey. The speculation has been running wild. Ronda Mania. It seems to be now the worst kept secret. It almost felt like the best kept secret until, well, let's give the shout out. Tom Colohue broke this news first. It's got to be said. Yes, Fightful broke it. It did come out as well by Brown Alvarez. But I tell you what, Tom gave the shout on his streams first. If anyone that's not subscribed to his channel, do so. He's got great inside sources, and a lot of the stuff he's predicting at the moment is coming true. He's even done a video, actually, it's a shorter version video, 5 minutes of Ronda Rousey and all the details of it. I don't want to quote all of it, because I feel that we should give him some love for his video, but he's definitely got the quote anyway of where the sources come from. But the idea as well that her makeup artists and stuff is actually scheduled to be at the Rumble in St. Louis could be a telltale tale. The fact that we could have a storyline as well in place, and if Ronda was to come in, maybe, just maybe, we might get that dream match. And of course, the idea of Ronda Rousey could be coming in. Do you think that we would get that dream match? I mean, if she comes in, it's kind of like the same with Brock and with Roman. If she comes in the Rumble, she has to win it, right? And do we get Ronda versus Becky?
Yeah, 100%. She's in this Rumble. She has to win it. She's only going to be at this WrestleMania to headline. That's kind of clear. And the Becky Lynch match is something that's going to happen. So Ronda's in this match. She's winning it, I think, all day long. I think it sort of this throws plans out the window. And to be fair, the Ronda Rousey thing, it's quite a thing that needs to happen. When they reveal Mickie James, you got to ask her when they're revealing all these people. They must have had something bigger lined up, and this is clearly it.
It seems like it, absolutely. I mean, the thing is as well, like you mentioned some other names there, and obviously we've got someone there like Bayley. Obviously, that she would be someone you'd say if she comes back, surely she would win it because that would be a great pop. Asuka as well would be another one, but I think I have her more as like a journey person in the Rumble. She'd be great to come in quite early on and have like 40 minutes in the match because I think she's capable of carrying a Rumble match like that on her shoulders. But do you think it would be a waste for Bayley to return in this spot and then not win?
Yeah, quite possibly. I think they should delay it. I don't think you want to chuck away Asuka and Bayley's return in one night. Let's just do the Asuka one. If you do it all, I think it might get lost. But the problem is the women's roster is so short. So unless you're going to go back to more legends, this is the reason why they're having to rush these people back. This is the reason why they're having to return. Obviously, these rumours of Sasha Banks coming back as well. It's all sort of rushed. It's a lot to happen. So it makes it really interesting. It's so open this year in the women's match, that's for sure.
Absolutely. It is very exciting. And now, because we don't even know, just because the fact WWE wants Ronda to come back doesn't mean we know she's actually going to do it. They've got everything in place. She still might not have signed the dotted line, but maybe she's
got a contract. She has got a contract. So that's the thing. She's still under contract, but it's a question mark. The only thing I would say, I think it's a bit of a shame that it's out there because if this was kept secret, would have been a wow moment for me. I did kind of say, I remember we spoke off there. I did speak to you sort of back at the start of January. I did say that kind of if anyone was going to come back, the two I had was Paige and I did have Ronda Rousey because they are generally wow moments, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
For me personally.
I think it would be. We're going to talk about Paige in a little bit more discussion just in a couple of seconds, but we'll just quickly talk about the NXT ones very, very quickly. And a couple of legends, they're linked in with it. Because I said Naomi number one. NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose has been in every single Royal Rumble to this point. Do you think it makes sense the fact she has the experience to come in and perhaps maybe, I've got Cameron down as being in the Royal Rumble. Could that be former friend or former foe if Sonya Deville wants to put that against her? And Mandy Rose is a former friend of Sonya Deville. If Sonya Deville brings her into the Rumble, maybe there's some forgiveness there. Maybe there's a story to go in the Rumble. Could all of this come together and link up in a beautiful moment in the Royal Rumble match?
I'd love to see it. That's really, really good booking. Steve, you need to take the pen of WWE and start booking, man. That's really, really good.
I appreciate that. But we mentioned Melina there as well. That could be fun if she was to come in. I think that's just more down to rumours and speculation than anything else. But I think we can go on. We'll just quickly talk about Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai. I think they've done everything they can do in NXT. I know there's still storylines going on with them, but I'd like to see them in the Rumble. I think that would be great. And I know Io Shirai is going to be at the SmackDown tapings this Friday.
I'm going to put a prediction out there. This is a big one now. I'm going to put it out there. I could see Raquel Gonzalez facing Ronda Rousey later this year. I think that's going to be a program that happens. I can see Ronda Rousey sort of at this point having some sort of having a title and them going down that road. For me, it makes sense. I think Raquel's done all she can. She's too good for NXT. Same with Io Shirai. They need to get her on the roster because they're so short of women. To be fair,
absolutely.
Both of them.
Yeah, really. They are short. I think with the returns, if they happen, if we get a Ronda back and we get a couple of call-ups, I think it fills out the roster and it makes things feel a lot more strength in depth. And let's just quickly talk about some wild cards I've got for you now, Jonesy. Now, I'll get your score out of 10 straight away this time, rather than actually waiting about. So, what do you think the chances out of 10 are of these wild cards going in? Cora Jade from NXT.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. I think the same. Paige, if she was to.
4 out of 10.
Same. And Jazz. I know I've given a shout out to Wrestling by Wardridge there for that one because that's the last one I've got written down. You don't think any chance?
I'd love to see it happen. I get the reason why he said it, and I really want that to happen. But I just think WWE not interested in paying respects to legends of women wrestling. To be fair,
it would be 20 years since she was in the company as women's champion as well. So that's why I'd like to see it. But I don't think it's one I think is most unlikely, but I really hope WWE would do it. But that's sort of Paige seems to be the big topic of that one. If it was to come back, that would have to be up there with like the Edge return, the Daniel Bryan return, or Bryan Danielson. It has to be up in that echelon because Paige was a big deal, and she was one of the faces of the women's division. She was always, I know she's had some controversy go on, but she's always been someone that people have talked about, and she's always been someone that was almost like one of the faces that helped push this evolution, this revolution start. Let's not forget that first NXT takeover, the NXT arrival, that This Is Awesome chance with her match with Emma. You didn't really get that much before. It was the 2-minute matches on Raw and SmackDown. We then got the evolution of Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, and Sasha all coming in. But Paige was there before all of them doing those big matches. Do you think that this would be up there as one of the biggest returns of all?
I think it'd be fantastic if they did. It'd be a really good feel-good story. The crowd reaction would be amazing. For me, Paige is coming back this year at some point. It may not be the Rumble. Her contract is up, so she wants to go out and show what she can do. Obviously, in case she wants to go AEW or something. But for me, save it. If you're going to bring Asuka back, bring Bayley back, bring Ronda Rousey back. Don't do Paige as well in one night. It's just too much of an overkill. Let's bring her back on the road to WrestleMania at some point. Let's bring her back on a Raw or SmackDown and build it for a while. Maybe do a vignette or something that's going to hype this and have that big reveal. Then let's get her a match at WrestleMania. I'd love to see her versus Rhea Ripley, if I'm being honest. That'd be a dream match for me, off the top of my head.
That's a tasty match. That's a really good one. Her versus Sasha could be quite fun well to watch. Yeah, really, I know really that I think a lot of people would see that as quite as an interesting match. So yeah, and perhaps even against some of the people that she's been against previously that she helped bring up. Maybe could have the rivalry of her and Sonya Deville on the GM sort of role. That could be quite fun also. But let's go to predictions then. Let's go with predictions, Jonesy, because obviously we need to discuss here. And what I'm going to do is here for this one, because Ronda, I think, is going to be popular with a lot. So I'm going to give, if Ronda is your number one, great, but you can have a backup as well, because if she doesn't show up, then we're going to feel pretty silly, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. So, do you want to go first, or shall I go first with the predictions? Totally up to you, Steve.
I'm happy for you to go first, and then I can chime in after.
Okay, so I think in terms of a Raw Women's Royal Rumble winner, the one for me, if Ronda Rousey doesn't do it, I'm going to have to go with, I think, Bianca Belair. She did it last year. It's a real good feel-good story. I think they really want her to be in some sort of element. I could see her have a match against Charlotte potentially at WrestleMania, so I'm going to go Bianca Belair. It was either Bianca Belair or Liv Morgan for me. They've done a fantastic job with both on this sort of story arc of getting them sort of the fans to be behind them, and I think it could be really good to see play out.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, if it's not Ronda Rousey, she does return. There's no question she's winning it. There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
But if not, I agree with you. I think Bianca Belair may just shade my prediction. But if Bayley does come in again, I feel she should win it. My idea of it would be, because you could actually still build a triple threat match with Bayley, Bianca Belair, and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Because then Bayley, she comes back. People are going to want to cheer her, but she doesn't go full on babyface. She can keep that character going. Bianca can carry the babyface load, if you want, of that triple threat rivalry, and then you can break up into the singles feuds after. But I think we've not had a back-to-back Rumble winners since a very long time. I think Steve Austin was the last one to do it. So we're talking about more than 20 odd years. So I think Bianca Belair would be a good shout as a backup, but Ronda Rousey has to take the number one position.
Yeah, definitely. If she's in the match, she has to. She's not coming in this match just to be eliminated, is she? Let's be fair.
No, absolutely not. So let's go into the comments, because as you can imagine, they've been flying in once again. And we're saying here, we've got Martin Correa says, if commentary could mention accolades from the Royal Rumble in the aftermath, it would make talent feel valuable. I would agree with that point. That's a very good point that's been made from Martin. We mentioned about the long terms of people staying in the long time in the Rumble. We tend to get for one night, don't we? And that's about it. Ben says that Naomi is winning the Rumble. Randy Sam also going for Naomi. That would be a true underdog story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, definitely, 100%. Be fun to see.
Absolutely. Ryan Awesome going for Naomi, Shayna Baszler, and a returning Bayley. That would definitely be good to narrow it down to those three. Josie, you don't care about a bad reputation. It must be for one of those picks and predictions.
It was the Rhea Ripley comment. It was the Rhea Ripley thing in the graphic. Yeah.
I wonder if it was Omos. I think it could be Omos as well. It could be in there. Could be. Either way, we've got to give our viewpoints as we see them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Supersonic says, go with Asuka eliminating Charlotte in the Royal Rumble match, and certainly could build them to WrestleMania. It would definitely be a big storyline if that was to happen. Silk says that Raquel is currently involved in the Dusty Cup. She probably won't be involved, as the tournament will still be going on for a few weeks. That's certainly something we've got to keep in mind. But she probably won't be on the main until the Raw after Mania. Certainly, it seems to make a logical shout there from Silk. Do appreciate that comment. One we're not talked about is Lacey Evans, Bayley and Asuka, and Trish. Would be surprised, unlikely surprised, Sasha returned from injury. Lacey Evans, of course, recently giving birth also. Do you reckon it's a bit too soon for Lacey to come back, or do you reckon she looks to be in good shape when she's shown her workout sort of stuff on Instagram?
I think she's due imminently, so it could happen. But no, I think they'll delay that, to be fair.
If there's bigger names coming in, I think they should delay it. I don't want to see it get lost in the shuffle. We're going all out with this Women's Royal Rumble prediction, and an Io Shirai winning all, maybe from number 15. Would love to see it, Martin. That is bold, and I love it. Shotzi eliminated Lita, her idol. I'm calling it. Love that idea. Mandy Rose eliminated Naomi because of Sonya's help. It makes sense. Like that suggestion as well. Supersonic says that, like I said, I'm going with Asuka eliminating Charlotte, so this feud can happen, leaving them at WrestleMania 38. I think that certainly would be good. Victoria is the surprise entrant for Ricky. Loving that. And you said something there, Steve. Cameron and Naomi versus Mandy and Sonya standoff moment in the Rumble would be nice. I will think it would be quite fun, and I'm glad you think so as well. Awesome Kong will be awesome, but she's retired. It would be. She only gave up last year, so it would be fun to see. Paige, of course, is the first ever NXT Women's Champion. Ryan Awesome definitely on the money with that. Of course, at that NXT arrival, winning that championship. We've got Elijah who says Io and Dakota rumored to be at the SmackDown Friday PW Insider. That's true. Dakota is rumored as well. She certainly could be one of them. Would you like to see Dakota Kai in that match?
Yeah, I would. It'd be great to see her up there because she was teased with the main roster last year. Let's pay it off and give her that cameo. I think it could do no harm, really.
Absolutely. We're just going through those last few comments now before we end up for the screen. And a loser leaves WWE. How about a loser leaves SmackDown lose their brand rather than that? Because I'd hate to see either of them offer WWE. I wouldn't want to see Asuka or Charlotte having a storyline.
Definitely not. I wouldn't want to see them go off of for a long time. I think it would be a real shame. But loser leaves a brand's a good shout. But to be fair, WrestleMania season going forward, people can jump at any moment to brands at the moment. I think the whole brand extension don't really exist anymore, to be fair.
No, if they want to make it move, they should make it move. An OMG moment, Shayna eliminating Ronda, but it's highly unlikely that feud at the Elimination Chamber. Josie make a good point. Bianca can be eliminated, could eliminate Flair or someone else. Shayna basically could get a push off of this, maybe. Could get a push, couldn't she? Would you like to see Shayna be in a proposition to take on Ronda?
I'd love to see it. She's obviously recovering from last year, so I think definitely that's a dream match, but I just don't trust WWE to do it right, but it would be so good if it happened. I think that's another one that could be an MMA stipulation if done right, and I think it would be really fun. It would be hard hitting, that's for sure.
I would agree. It definitely would be hard hitting. Supersonic X says Bianca Belair or Liv Morgan again, but Supersonic is adamant with Asuka and Charlotte needs to be at WrestleMania. And damn it, I'd be happy for you if that happens. I'd tell you, I'd be so happy for Supersonic.
I know Supersonic's been waiting for months for Asuka to come back, so I really hope it happens on Sunday for him. Saturday even. Sorry.
I would be. For Saturday, yeah, we'll get used to the Saturdays. The pay-per-views going in a year. We'll get used to it. But this is the last comment we'll read out. Then Jeff saying Rhea Ripley versus Ronda could be down the line to Jonesy. That'd be an idea, wouldn't it?
It would be. It'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun. I have one more comment because I think it's too brilliant not to mention from
Brutal,
Rex. The
honest.
push Shayna Baszler is out of the company. WWE don't rate it, and I don't know why. It is brutal, but I agree with him. I don't know why either.
No, I don't. Can I put one last shout out as well? I tell you, should come in the Rumble. Mystery Entrant 31. This is the great one. Nick Khan, the man that's kind of done so much over WWE over the last 12 months. The most powerful person besides Vince and Roman. Let's bring Nick Khan into the Rumble. Let's give him the cheer he deserves.
Definitely. Either that or she get thrown off the top rope by Omos. That's how it should be ended off. That would definitely be the way I would close it off. But that's pretty much it, really. That's pretty much that's all we got time for, I think, for the stream today. But Jonesy, obviously, we put a tweet out the other day saying about Jonesy making a return at some point. Is there something in the pipeline maybe that you might make a comeback soon?
Potentially, yeah, may come back. I'm looking at it, thinking about it, working around work and stuff. I may look to come back. Probably around WrestleMania season, definitely look for me to do some videos, 100% with news and stuff like that. I'm going to probably start dropping more videos of my predictions that are crazy out there. I tend to predict a lot of stuff. It would be good to get it out there and just obviously so people can react to it, really.
I'd love to see it. Definitely, the prediction videos would be awesome. Definitely through WrestleMania season. I know that it was given with positive reactions. So Jonesy, I hope you can come back if you have the opportunity. But certainly, thank you for you coming on the stream today. It really, really does mean a lot.
It's been fantastic.
It's been good to get your viewpoint. It has been. And I want to say as well, thank you to everybody that's been involved with the comment section. You've been on fire during this live stream. And also just say, hit that like button at the end of the video. And once we've come off as well, please leave a comment as well. It really just helps with the algorithms and stuff like that. And want to really get to the watch time and stuff like that so we can get to the monetization really, really does mean a lot. And obviously without each and every one of you, it's certainly not possible. So thank you very much all for watching. WrestleMania UK says, Great fun, lads. Good stream. Thank you very much for checking it out. As I say to everybody as well for this video, go and check out the other ones as well. Before I leave you, I should just say thank you, Jonesy, for being on, and thank you from myself to everyone else as well. Enjoy the Royal Rumble.
Let's see who's right on Sunday.
Let's see. We're going to come back for a review. On Sunday, we're coming back for a review. So if you want to come back here to this channel on Sunday, we will both review Royal Rumble. We'll see who was right. I think it's going to be Jonesy, and we'll see who was wrong, which is probably going to be me. We'll find out. I've gone bold and wild on this, so there's a good chance that it's not going to happen. But we will leave you with this here today. Take care. All the best, and we'll see you next time.
Have you got Royal Rumble fever? Well, if you do, SCW has got you covered. If you're enjoying the Royal Rumble predictions that you're watching now, then why not check out some of these other videos on the channel at the end of this video, including Wrestling YouTube comes together to decide who will win the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches 2022 in a Royal Rumble format. That's right, the entire of Wrestling YouTube on one video to decide who wins the Royal Rumble matches this Saturday. In another Royal Rumble format, Wrestling YouTube also comes together to decide the greatest Royal Rumble match in history. There are also videos on Royal Rumble potential surprises and returns. There is some fantasy booking on the channel also with the Women's Royal Rumble. Arguably, I would say one of my best fantasy booking videos to date. And coming to the channel as well is the Men's Royal Rumble in fantasy booking format. Subscribe now to SCW to never miss an upload, and also hit that beautiful bell for the notifications and turn it to all, that you know each and every time a video is released as we head towards WrestleMania season.